Folks, I am optimistic as all can be. And the more I read about history, the more optimistic I am. Because everything we're going to go through, everything we've been through, that we're going through right now, we've been through before. Everything. And human beings have come out for the better for it, we think, at least in our modern history. I challenge the idea of history like the Dark Ages was dark. I don't think so at all. I don't think so in the least. I challenge the idea that we are technologically superior to previous iterations of humanity. I don't believe that at all. But be it as it may, for the last, basically 150 to 200 years or so, the modern man, if you will, at least our current iteration of modern man, if you just look at your history, you'll notice that everything we're going through, we've been through before. Everything. So it makes it fun just reading your newspapers.com subscription, your New York Times historical context, because you're seeing the same thing. It's like, how I get mad at financial media where they just regurgitate the same articles every year. It's almost it's almost the same thing with economics and all that. It's just the same stuff. Not every year though, but every generation or so. You're like, man, all this stuff we're contending with, no, get out of there. We've already been through it. And we'll go through it again and again and again. And yet humanity has survived. Individual people may not have. Individual people might have lost hope and say, this is not good. This has never happened before. There's no way I can get out of this mess. And that stinks. I hope that's not you. And if that is you, I'd highly encourage you to seek some guidance. Because if you're that worried about things in this society that we're in, I know you don't want to hear that. I know the last thing people who are depressed want to hear is, well, I can't believe you're worried about it. I get that, man. I don't think that many people like that are watching this channel, frankly. But if you're overly worried, if you're depressed is one thing. Depression is an issue you can't just snap out of. You can't say, okay, I'm not depressed anymore. And the last thing you need is some guy on YouTube saying, snap out of it. I'm not saying that at all if you're depressed. I am saying it, though, to people like, oh, no, Biden's going to ruin us all, or Trump's going to ruin us all, or Putin, or whatever. The Nazis aren't under your bed. They're not, if you're an anti-Trumpster. If you're anti-Putin, the commies aren't under your bed either. One of the best benefits of living in the United States is we have a border protection called the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, which is wonderful. The likelihood of us being invaded, not very high. On top of that, we have neighbors to the north and south who are not going to invade us. All right? Now, are we getting invaded from an influx of immigration? Yeah, well, hate to say it, but this economy would fall apart if there weren't immigrants. It's just, that's all there is to it. All right, so then you're like sitting there thinking, okay, so we're not going to get invaded. We have the resources to provide everything we need. I mean, obviously, we have to regenerate some manufacturing, all that, obviously. But we have the know-how, we have the resources to do it. We have the capability to do it. So as we're seeing now a bifurcation of the BRICS, and Saudi Arabia now is trying to join the BRICS, we're seeing Biden try to put a cap on Russian oil prices, which is only going to cause the price of oil and energy as a whole to go through the roof. So we're seeing a bifurcation, all right, just like the communists, the East versus the West. It's no different than that. Of course, back then though, even though China communists were founded and financed by the Russian Bolsheviks, China and Russia were not friends. That's a fact. So we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. But anyway, the point being is, even if there's a bifurcation, and I'm not so sure we're actually the good guys in this anymore, but be it as it may, the U.S., the people are the good guys. Our government's is slowly becoming not, that's for sure. Maybe not slowly, actually. Maybe they've been the bad guys for a while, to my chagrin, or my ignorant patriotism. Be it as it may, we've been through all this before, and we've survived. And we've actually, I don't want to say thrived, but we've made it through. We made it through Nixon. We made it through Reagan. When I say Reagan, because that was abundance. Nixon was scarcity. And everyone wants to blame Carter. No, it was really LBJ and Nixon, frankly, more than Carter, that's for sure. It's just everyone's so deep enthralled in the red versus blue thing. It's silly. So it's Carter and Reagan, the abundance that came from that. followed by Clinton, frankly. And then there was the insanity of the warmongers from Bush and Obama, and now Biden. Trump was the only reprieve we had on that. So it's not red versus blue, it's warmongers versus peaceniks, essentially, and realist. And who knows what the next Republican will be, I don't know. But anyway, be it as it may, here we are. All these years later, we're still here. I'm 52 years old, about to turn 52 here in about 3 days. And I made it through Nixon. I made it through the growth of Carter, Reagan, and Clinton. I made it through the war machine of Bush and Obama. And I made it through the peace of Trump, which was the prosperity that we've had, probably undeserved, given that we rewarded Trump with COVID crap, lockdowns. But be that as it may, he was part of it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so the question is now is like, here we are, Biden war machine is generating, going on, right? And there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to cost us money, and things are going to get tight. We've been through this a million times. Just look at your history, man. And don't just look at from, like I just did a video earlier today about inflation in 1909 was negative. It was deflation. You can't look at, yuck, yeah, that's a poop. Come on, don't sniff other people's poops. Come on. Don't look at it like that, man. Because you got to actually look at on the ground. That's why you got to go to your newspaper stuff, because you see what people were saying back then, as opposed to just looking at Robert Schiller's numbers or Ibbotson numbers, because there are real people affected in different ways, by the way, of the various numbers that we cite, from inflation, from the cost of food, for energy and all that, from ability to buy a car. Come on. Anyway, the point being is all those people, people die, but the legacy lived on, man. The legacy did. I.e., your kids, your grandkids. Humanity has moved forward. We have higher weapons of war. Do we? Do we really have more devastating weapons of war? They didn't use nukes in Dresden, and Dresden was destroyed. There's no nukes used in San Francisco. And if you look at the comparison pictures of San Francisco to Dresden or Hiroshima, they look identical. They were destroyed. San Francisco's here, Hiroshima's here, Dresden's here. All alive, well, kicking. Weird, huh? Yeah, a lot of people got hurt, a lot of people died. That sucks. And guess what? You're going to die too. I'm going to die too. If you eat carrots, you're going to die. But the cities as a whole came back. Who wants to live in San Francisco? Nobody of any sense. Get the hell out of there, dude. But at the end of the day, San Francisco has survived to be as insane as it is. And what happens is the more insanity comes down, the more quickly it's going to generate us to go to a more normalized society. Because you can only be insane for so long before reality kicks in that people need a place to sleep and food to eat and ways to heat their homes. And no politician is going to say, no, can't heat your home today, like they're trying to pass in UK. The Greens are trying to say, no more wood-burning stoves. Yeah, try that in America, baby. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how long people say, I'm not allowed to use wood to heat my home. Maybe in San Francisco, because they want to electrify everything. Wait until the grid goes down because they don't have enough generation. And then people quickly say, yeah, we're not going to ration our home heating for 4 hours a day in the wintertime. That's not going to work. Anyway, reality does settle in. And when reality settles in, things change to the benefit for sure. So, hard times are part of living. You can't expect good times all the time. That'd be silly. In fact, hard times create good times. In fact, not only do hard times create good times create people who appreciate the good times, which means you'll be happier when those good times come. You're like, man, we survived. And then you're going to look back, because we're always nostalgic for the past. No matter how bad the past was, we're always nostalgic for it. And then you're going to look back and say, man, that wasn't so bad. I survived it. And that's why I'm optimistic, because I can assure you, if you survive, you're going to look back on these times and say, man, that wasn't so bad after all. We survived it. And just look at your history. That's why you should be optimistic too. All right, we'll see you.